let's talk about something crazy. Have you ever ridden a bike around New York City?
Who you? Me?
You have you?
Oh yeah. You're supposed to say that owl on your shoulder. Get it?
Who?
Who? That
Who?
owl on your shoulder. Actually, I can say I have. Have you?
Really? I actually have, but I'd love for you to tell us the story. So on today's show, Crystal is going to talk about how she drove up to Manhattan and stayed in a hotel that might have cost a dollar or two, and rode around all five of Manhattan's boroughs with Manhattan's boroughs, New York's boroughs. Manhattan's one of them, but there's four more. And if you don't know what they are, we'll reveal them in this episode. But,
I don't know him. I'm
but
actually not sure I know him.
she also met up with some really cool people while she was there. And they biked together around New York City.
Can I reveal who the cool people were, or if they have to wait till the intro,
Well,
to the music?
let's wait till the intro because
Okay.
right now I think you're supposed to say.
Let's get this show on the road.
Welcome back to the Stacking Adventures podcast. Every adventure has a story, and this is where we share yours. So write us with your story at stackingadventures.com/my story. And today, Crystal, we're telling your story. So tell us what happened. You went to New York City.
Yes. So this first of all, it all started in January. I was we had a vision board party, obviously virtual, with one of the people were in New York, Sandy Smith, the Crumbleys, Kevin Matthews, and I was like, okay, I got to say something outlandish, and I was like, I want to do that New York City like bike ride, the five boroughs. And I was talking to a friend who talks a lot. I was surprised I got a word in, but this friend of mine that I was talking to said, "Hey, Cheryl and I are doing this the New York City five borough bike ride." And I was like, "Shut up." And if you guys know, I've even said shut up and he doesn't shut up. So Joe, can you guess who has a wife named Cheryl who talks a lot and that's a friend of mine? Who is that person?
Who would that be? I have no idea.
No idea. The his first name rhymes with Schmo.
Huh. Sounds like a very cool, probably very handsome dude.
The coolest person that we both know. It was Joe, you guys. The big reveal. So, Joe, Cheryl, and I, we actually went on this beautiful adventure in New York City. So, Joe, actually, before we even start that, let's start with the planning phase. So, I bought my ticket way back in January for the actual bike ride. How about you and Cheryl?
Yeah, we bought ours at the same time. And this is actually funny because you and I talked about it way back then. And it was
Yep.
only maybe a week before that you're like, hey, so I'll see you in New York. And I'm like, I didn't even know we had done all of this planning. Crystal and I do a podcast together every week. And yet
Every week.
we had no idea that Crystal was going to be there, but we ended up doing a bunch of stuff, which Crystal will tell you about. But so we booked it right away. And I'll tell you, even then, bicycles were sold out from their company,
Oh,
Unlimited Biking. So we ended up having to go through a third party, Bike NYC. The
okay.
bicycles alone were not cheap. They were $150 each.
Whoa.
But I will tell you, I love that bike I was on, Crystal. I love that. I didn't like that bike. I love that bike. But $150 for a bike for 24 hours is pretty cheap or steep, excuse me, not cheap, steep.
But I swear I heard you say that maybe one or two or thousand times. Like, I love this bike. I love this bike. You said it a few times during the ride.
I need to buy
Um,
that bike.
it did look really cool. Mine is funny when people ask me what kind of bike I have. I'm like, I don't know. It was on sale at the bike shop that was going out of business, so I
It
took it.
is,
It was mine.
it's a kick-ass bike. It's a nice like teal color, right?
Yeah, yeah. It's a really cool
Yeah.
color.
But the
Don't know.
best part of the bicycle is that
Forgot.
Crystal has these fantastic bells on the bike.
Yeah, my 2 buddies, they're called Patty and LaBelle, and I'll have to upload a picture in our clubhouse on Facebook, and show you guys what they look like. They are my ride or die buddies, and they ride with me everywhere. So I'll have to remember. I'm have to make a note to post a picture of Patty and LaBelle, and you'll see the LaBelle looks French, so that's why he's LaBelle because he does. He has little tucks on too. So for the hotel, did you immediately book your hotel? Because I have a complete opposite story of the hotel.
Yeah, we booked ours about 5 weeks ago and,
Ah,
or 5 weeks before the ride.
before.
So what, almost
Okay.
6 weeks ago now. And, I'm glad that I did after what people are gonna hear from your story. But, getting into Manhattan is very hard. We
Yeah.
tried going through, number 1, through Hyatt because, as you know, I collect Hyatt points, and then I also went
Mhm.
through Marriott. I couldn't find anything. So we went to hotels.com and we found a
Oh,
DoubleTree, which was right down by Battery Park. It wasn't centrally located, but the cool thing was, like your hotel, it was fairly close to the starting line and it was very, very close to the subway, which got us to everything really quickly.
oh, good. And see, so my opposite, the week before the ride, I'm like, "Hey, Joe, where you guys staying?" So since I waited till late, I looked up the DoubleTree and I went through the Chase portal for mine. And the DoubleTree was $615 a night because I waited late. And I was like, wow, Joe is a baller. And so I actually straight from where was it? I think it was in my email. I actually tried searching for all the old hotels I stayed at in New York because I was like, there's no way I paid that much. And so I was trying to look for old hotels that I've stayed with in the past, but that didn't work. So I was in my email. So I'm like, hey, Gemini is integrated. So I was like, hey, give me hotels that are cheap that are next to the Doubletree. And I told it I'm doing this 5 borough bike ride. I also want to be near the start. And so it gave me a list, and so it actually, it listed the Hyatt, Herald Square, the Western Grand Central. It also gave me Hotel Indigo, Financial District. So I checked every single one of those because I only wanted to stay one night, Saturday night, and those were pretty steep too. But I ended up with Hotel Indigo, and that was $419 for Saturday night,
Wow.
which was wild. I also tried to find parking, and on the website, they were like, "Oh, if you they have some kind of parking, but you have to stay a minimum of 2 nights." And I was like, "Well, I'm not staying 2 nights." So, luckily oh, also, so you guys obviously had to fly because you rented bikes. I decided to drive because I put my bike on back of my car. So I was stuck with driving, and of course, it's Manhattan. I was like, "I'm not gonna find parking." But as I pull up, because they don't even have valet or anything like that, there was a public parking garage, like, right across from the hotel. It's like
That's
it was
good.
on the back street, so that was good. So I actually got to go in and out of the car too because I had planned on checking out of my hotel before the ride, and just leaving my stuff in the car since I didn't wanna have them keep my stuff. But then, just out of a whim, before we left out, I called the front desk and I was like, "Well, how much to extend? Because I don't know how tired I'll be." And it was $115 for the
Just
Sunday
dropped through
night.
the floor once all the riders were gone.
I was like, "You've got to be kidding me," because even your average price since you booked 5 weeks ahead, you paid way cheaper than I did.
Yeah, mine ended up averaging about $130 a night.
Wow.
And as Crystal knows, because she's now an honorary Sol High,
Yes, I am.
it was a family trip. So my son came from Detroit, brought my wife's brother Todd, who was his 60th birthday celebrations, and
Nice.
he'd
Yeah.
never been to New York. And then my daughter and her boyfriend Bryce came down from Boston, took the train down, and so Crystal, now we're gonna call her Crystal Sol High because
I
she
know.
now a
I was
member of
like,
the family.
"Listen." I was the 7th wheel on that,
That's right.
fun adventure, but it was cool. So that was like us getting there. The drive was smooth. The only bad thing, or not bad thing, was the congestion prices because I drove and it
Mm,
made the drive, I guess, none of the tunnels or bridges were as backed up as I've ever seen it congestion pricing, whatever they call it. So I'm glad. I'm not gonna say I'm glad they have it, but it helped with the the traffic, but it did suck because it was $55 for a congestion toll,
Wow.
for New York City. Yeah, so
Did
that was
you do you enjoy driving in Manhattan? Because a lot of people that I know do not. Like they're like, no way. I like it. I think it's fine.
I literally, because of where the hotel is, and you guys can look at it on the map, after you cross that last, I think is it the Verrazano Bridge? After you cross that last bridge, you are right at the hotel. Like the exit ramp, I had passed the parking garage on the right side, and as I turned, like, made that first left turn to the hotel, I just had to circle back around and just go back into that parking garage. Like, I probably drove less than a mile in the
Oh wow,
total of
that's great.
Manhattan anyway, so
And
it worked out. It really worked out great for me because
it,
we saw, like, scooters in all directions, we saw people, we saw all different types of transportation, and nobody followed the rules of the road. If the light was red, that doesn't mean anything in Manhattan.
didn't mean anything. You know, it was not the Verrazano Bridge. That was that
It was
last bridge we'll get to, but that
the
was
us,
that
yeah.
that was the name of that last bridge as we were
This
headed over to Staten Island, which was the hardest bridge of all to ride on a bicycle.
everybody talked about after we'll talk about after the race, but when I was on the elevator, we were like, "Did you do the bike?" "Yes, I did," and we all said Verrazano Bridge at the same time.
Everybody. That's why it's a curse word now
It
in
is.
Crystal's lexicon. For us getting there, we flew American because that's our main
Mhm.
place. The cool thing is that we had a really easy time getting there. And my son and Cheryl's brother got in at LaGuardia about the same time that we did,
Oh,
so we were
nice.
able to take one taxi
Right.
into town. And I've had this continuing thing happen, Crystal, which is that I've been ever since my book tour where I go to a different city, I get off another plane or a train in another city. I began that trip taking Ubers, but I very quickly realized that in most cities, Ubers and Lyfts have gotten so much mind share. It's the first thing people think of. They
Mhm.
don't even think of taxis anymore. And in almost every major city, taxis are less expensive now, which
Ah,
is funny
that's
because if you
interesting.
think about the quote sharing economy that makes me roll my eyes, the whole thing was, well, taxis are so expensive. You don't want to take a taxi. And now Uber more expensive, about 20 to 25% more expensive. And I'll give you
Huh.
an example. On the way back, I actually left town to go to Charlotte for the Plutus Summit, this great financial industry summit. And when I was leaving, I was going out of JFK and I went to book an Uber, and my Uber price was going to be about 125 or $130.
Hmm.
Um, and if I did the wait and save, where they waited 10 minutes before I don't understand what the wait and save actually does. I wait around 10 minutes and then it doesn't make any sense to me. But anyway, so they they are still looking for a driver and this taxi comes by.
Mhm.
Taxi ended up being $95.
Wow, that's a big difference. That's a meal.
I know, significant price difference between the taxi and the Uber.
Interesting, and you still would have waited had they had the ride also. Jeez. Well, now we see New York City isn't really it's not just expensive, it's strategically expensive. Like, there's
But
definitely
which makes it then more important, I think, to know how to use public transportation. Because Crystal, you and I got around New York City great just using the subway. Like that
Oh,
was
yeah.
the subway in New York City. I know people from out of town who are afraid of it. They're like, "Oh, I don't know if I could take this." The subway was simple.
I agree, and it was when I got on because we were both close to the end of the line, we were one stop away from each other. So after we arrived, like, the day of, because I got there on Saturday, you guys got there, what, Thursday or
We got there
Friday?
Thursday.
Ah,
Yeah,
nice. And
Thursday.
so well, then go ahead, tell us about Thursday. Or
Well,
you're
we just did a
leading up
couple.
to
No, that's fine. We just did a couple of tourist days. On We went to the Tenement Museum, which was really neat, seeing how people live, in the early
I don't.
1900s and late 1800s. They're all in these tenement buildings
Oh.
around Little Italy. So just people packed, and the museum was great because of the fact that the guide we had was fantastic, talking about these people that would come over with nothing except the skill that they had. And these people, and you would love this, Crystal, this guy was great at sewing. He was fantastic. And
Ah.
so he set up a shop where he was kind of a middleman. He did not sell directly to an end customer. He would sell, a place would give him a pattern and would tell him what type of fabric to get. He would
Uh-huh.
go buy the fabric, he'd get these people, and it was like the early version of a sweatshop. He'd have six people in the front room of this little tiny three-room apartment, maybe
Yeah.
400, 500 square feet total. No, even less than that.
Okay.
Maybe 300 square feet, but just tiny. By the time, by the way, this one family moved out of the one that we were in, they had five kids, seven people living
And
in this little tiny three-room apartment,
what?
making the equivalent of about $35,000 a year today.
Oh.
So
Wow,
we
that's
did that. We went to the 9/11 museum, which was
okay.
100% disturbing, as you can imagine.
Mhm.
The what else did we do? We also went to New York Yankees baseball game.
Ooh,
We did that Saturday before you and I met up, and we went to the Bronx Zoo. So had some fun just exploring
interesting.
and seeing what the city's all about.
So my first day when I, got there, let's see, found parking. Oh, the packet pickup. Let's talk about the packet pickup. So, it was easy again to take the train. We were towards the end of the line, so when I got on the train, it was just me and some homeless guy knocked out asleep laid across the seats, like 4 or 5 benches chairs, and then maybe the World Trade Center was the next stop, and so I was like, "Oh, I'll definitely come back on my way. Because at first I was like, "Okay, I'll just walk to Packet Pickup," but it was like a almost hour and a half walk. So I was like, "No, thanks." So I took the train. I was like, "I'll just strategically walk back because I knew I wanted to go to Macy's and I wanted to, try to find, like, little jewelry shops, but I never found them. So by 2 stops later, standing room only on the train. Like, I'm glad we had such a good location that it wasn't, like, super busy, so I got a seat every time, and so I just went to Packet Pickup. After you got off the train, it was still another, like, almost 20-minute walk, and I was power walking, and, like, our segment, "Are we there yet?" I kept say every time I got to a new corner, I'm like, "Are we there yet?" But it was cool because the packet pickup, you walk in, it was very neatly organized. And this is, a lot of good tips for anyone that's thinking about this race next year, this bike ride. And no one can see, but I am wearing my medal. I wore it to work all day also. But the packet pickup, it was super simple. And then Joe, you did ask for earlier wave and they gave it to you. So if you wanna like ride with a different group, just be nice and ask, right? At the packet pickup.
The issue is, if you have all day, I don't think it's that big a deal. The problem that we had is that you were in an earlier wave than we were, and we had our family that was not going to be riding, that we're all just waiting for
Mhm.
us to finish. So for us to start at 10:30 in the morning, based on how cold it
Mm,
was, starting, which
yeah.
we'll get to, starting at 10:30 in the morning might have had it warmed up a little bit than what we had, but we didn't have that kind of time. So we were just very nice to the guy, and he was
Mhm.
nice back to us and said, yeah, he would move us up. But this is not a small bike ride. I mean,
No.
32,000 people rode in it, including the
1,000.
mayor.
Yes. It was cool because everyone's like, "Did you see him? Did you see him?" I was like, "We heard someone talking, but we couldn't make out who it was." So it
No
was
idea.
cool that we heard him, but we heard womp, 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 like the Charlie Brown teacher. Like, that's pretty much all we could hear, but we could see the main stage, and we saw and we heard that there was someone saying something, but yeah, we didn't catch any of it. But the packet pickup was cool because then you turn a corner, and then there's the merchandise sales. So that's where I bought I bought some socks, 5 Borough socks, which I'm glad because they had tall socks and I didn't bring any tall socks because I didn't know it was gonna be that cold. What else did I buy in the first area? I didn't buy anything. Then you turn another corner because 'cause you're walking through a maze now, and then there's more stuff that they're trying to sell to you.
I
I
thought,
saw
by the way,
some
after we
yeah.
got out of that first merchandise shop, I thought we were done. So I turned to the
Me too.
left, and the
Oh,
security guard told me, because this is not next to it, you got to go to the
mm-mm.
right. And then I turned behind the wall, and Crystal's not kidding. There's just a ton of merchandise places
Yes.
after we're already filled up.
Yep, same. It's like they do that to get you to buy as much. Oh, I bought a $20 water bottle because it was super cute though. I love my new water bottle. But yeah, I bought those 2 items and I was like, "Okay, I got out pretty good." And yeah, you turn the corner, there's merchants, vendors. They had these cute little bags and then they kept telling you everywhere, you cannot have a bag bigger than some small size. And they were saying which other bags weren't allowed. Now I see why, because they had some $95 bags that they were selling, and I was like, all you did was slap 2 pieces of Velcro on a bag, so if you guys have cute bags, I'll sew your pieces of Velcro on for you. I don't think it should have been $95, but I bought a T-shirt because they had instead of the "I love New York," the heart, it had a "I bicycle New
Bicycle.
York."
Yeah.
Yeah, so I did buy one of those, and I wish I wouldn't have walked so fast past they had these, they had a booth where they had this, like, pain cream and cramping cream. I'm like, "Oh, I'm fit. I don't need any of that stuff." And boy, was I wrong, like so don't because they had samples too. Do not pass that booth because you will need it. I needed it at mile 30 and I was kicking myself for not
Yeah, Cheryl stopped in at that booth.
stopping.
I did not. We we after we left Pack and Pickup, by the way, we did do one thing that was really cool. I kind of skipped over. Yeah, I went to a Yankee game, the Bronx Zoo. Those are things that you can check the list off. They're all great. You can look up about those in a lot of places. I got
I
to tell
didn't
you
do
something
any
that's
of those. Yeah.
well, but I got to tell you something that surprised
Uh-huh.
me.
Mhm.
After Pack and Pickup, we went to a cool pizza place that
Oh.
is listed by a lot of people as one of the top New York style pizzas. It's John's Pizzeria on Bleecker Street. It was
Mhm.
such good pizza. It was phenomenal pizza. It was
Really?
so fantastic. New York pizza at its best. And it's just a beat up place. We're going to talk about the place we went Sunday. And it had that same feel, Crystal, with just
Oh.
pictures on the walls of all the celebrities and
Oh.
little tiny narrow place and super good pizza. But after that, we went back up to Hudson Yard and we went to one of the tallest buildings in New York City that's home of this big, and you could see it for miles because it's one of the
Mhm.
tallest buildings. It's the highest observation point in the northern hemisphere, and it's called the Edge, and it hangs off the side of this cool tall building. I don't even know the name of the building. But what's neat about
Hmm.
it was when we first got to it, there's a mall underneath it. You kind of roll your eyes. Okay, a mall, whatever. But you got up to it, and all of the employees were really excited. Like they were selling it. Now, the reason they were selling it was $45 a person to go up there,
Ah.
which for me, when I saw $45, I'm like, no. But Cheryl's like, come on. So it
Really?
was just me and my son and Cheryl. So the
Okay.
three of us were the only ones. So Autumn had some work to do. Bryce was not yet in town. That's Autumn's boyfriend, my daughter's boyfriend.
Okay.
Uncle Todd was tired. He Uncle Todd's not a big walker, as Crystal saw. So we kind of dragged him around. Uncle Todd went with Autumn back to the hotel. So, but we went up this big cool elevator. First of all, in the waiting area, on the ceiling of the waiting area was a map. So the room is long and narrow, just like Manhattan. And
Mhm.
on the ceiling was a map of Manhattan. So you're looking up and it's all
Wow.
glittering and lit. And then you get on an elevator, and the elevator starts off as drawings when you're on the lower floor. And as it goes up, there's no windows, but as it goes up, the drawings get filled in and then they get colorized. And when you get to the top, it kind of shows you a preview of what you're about to see.
Mhm.
And then you step out, you can get overpriced cocktails up there, you can get overpriced food up there. But when you step out, you've got the most just these kick-ass views of the city at night.
Huh.
We were so high up and it was so fun. It was just so beautiful. But the biggest part, and Crystal, this one will kill you.
Mhm.
The floor in one of the areas was made of glass.
Nope. Yeah. Mm-mm.
And I got to tell you, I walked across it once just to say that I would, but people were like laying on the glass
Oh,
and taking pictures of themselves with the road way down below them. Oh my
no.
God. It
That
was,
that's trippy.
yeah. But it's funny that I'm recommending a $45 per person experience because that's not generally something I'm like, no, just to go up in an observation area. It was really
Mm,
neat. It was really
yeah.
neat. It was really fun. The Edge, it's called.
Okay.
And and I liked it
Adding that.
despite everything. I was like, yeah, no, thank you.
I like that. That now that's on my list. What did
Yeah,
I
it's
do?
good times.
Yeah, so I went to Macy's. So after pack up pickup, I didn't get back on the train. I walked back. Right, because we were meeting for dinner that evening also. So I went to Macy's. They had a beautiful flower show. I don't know if they do this once a year, but they had fresh flowers and fresh flower displays everywhere. Some were mechanical, like, and it wasn't the Audrey 2, because that, that plant could eat you. But they had these really nice displays. They had a lot of samples. They had a lot of cool, like different activities where you could buy your own water bottle to paint, with they had watercolors and flower power. So each like area of the store had different stations, but it was funny because I was looking for the back room because that's where they have these extra sales, but it was on the very top. So it's like, okay, if these people want to find the sales, they gotta work hard. They gotta go through the whole store.
Right.
Right, and elevator, you could forget it. I think they only have 1 elevator, and it takes so long. They're like, "Nope, you're gonna give up, and you're gonna ride on the escalators." So, I'm riding the escalators all the way up to 9, and as I'm approaching 8, I'm like, "It smells like food." And so the 8th floor is all kids' clothes. So I rise up to the 8th floor, and the first thing you see is Toys R Us. So they've
Oh my
Toys R
God.
Us, yeah, so this is so cruel. So Toys R Us in the kids' clothes section, they have a whole area where it's toys. And
Smart
then
marketing.
Oh, but smart marketing. And then they had a gaming area also. They had these big, huge life-size games. Then as I'm walking around the elevator to go to the next up one, oh, that's what the smell is. It's a McDonald's. There is a full McDonald's on the floor of the
Even better
kids.
marketing.
Oh, and they had the smell wafting through the whole, because you could smell it on the escalator before you even get there. I'm like, "Smells like food," and I haven't had McDonald's in years, but I'm like, "It smells good." So, genius marketing Macy's there, because I was like, "That's genius. Genius, genius." And
I
so
need
that
some
was
French
my
fries. Why do I need French
Right.
fries?
Why am I craving fries all of a sudden? So, yeah, that was smart on their part, but it was really beautiful. I was decorated with the flowers, and so I left Macy's, and then I just kept walking and admiring Times Square, and then I had to hurry back because we had the dinner plans, so then that was on to the next thing.
Yeah, so dinner was it. I
Ah,
booked dinner because of the fact that it was a wide menu. You could get just about anything you wanted. I used TripAdvisor, like Crystal, you and I have told our adventures to do.
mhm.
And TripAdvisor had given it really great reviews. It was in kind of a quiet part of town, which was nice. There wasn't a lot of hustle and bustle. It was on a side street. You turned a corner, it's attached to a micro hotel. This hotel actually had two bars and a restaurant. There was
Mm.
Linden's, Lindens was the restaurant we went in. And then there was a first floor, like a lobby bar where they were playing jazz music that sounded really
Mhm.
good. And then a
Bah.
rooftop bar that we went to later called Art. But I don't know about you, but when I walked into Linden's, it was really nice. There's a couple steps up to the hostess little stand and just the tables. It was a very clean look,
Mhm.
I like how open it was. I like the glass globes of the lighting, but the lighting was really soft. It was a little bit dark,
Very
but
low. It was it was
yeah,
it was a vibe. It was like mood lighting, that's what I would call it. And of course, for me, my old eyes, I was like, "I need my flashlight on my phone." I could
you
not
did. You had to
see.
turn on your flashlight. Yeah.
I couldn't
And my
see the words on the
brother-in-law,
menu.
who is turning 60, he took out a little magnifying glass
Magnifying glass. Yep.
because to try to read the stuff. So, but besides those, I thought our waiter was fun. I thought the food was good. Definitely not as good as the place we went the next day. But
Well, my burger was amazing. 10 stars out of 5. My burger, I highly recommend their burger. The drinks were really good. We had these he told us it takes about 4 months just to make the ingredients for each drink, for each cocktail. So that was really cool and it definitely tasted like this wasn't something they could just shake up or stir in a jar and keep us moving. Like
yeah, it
these were
was a
really
purple, like
great.
lavender looking
Yeah.
drink. Do you remember the
Mhm.
name of it or what it was?
I don't remember the name. I can look it up. But yeah, it
My
was
son
it
had
was good.
my son had a mango punch. I remember that.
Oh, right. Yep.
And you and Cheryl and I think Autumn all had the
Yeah, we all
purple
had it.
thing.
Yep. It was some kind of
Yeah.
lavender, but it was so good. But definitely recommend the burger if you go there.
We just went right to the wine list. They had a really nice wine list, had a good
Yeah.
Malbec, which was a nice bottle of wine. And that was super. So had a nice fun for you. It was kind of get to know the family night.
Yeah, it was cool. I really enjoyed my new family. But I like the wine too. I actually like that wine better than the other restaurant's wine, but maybe that's just because it's different kinds of wine.
The type,
Like,
yeah. The next
yeah,
night
the
was a
type.
lighter wine. Yeah. Yeah. Where that Malbec was a nice
Mhm.
fuller wine.
Right. Yeah,
Yeah.
I agree. Then we went on to the rooftop. So the rooftop was really, really cute. Very cutesy views of the city. We were able to walk right in on a that was surprising too on a Saturday night. Oh, I know
Not
why.
busy.
We were the early birds probably.
We were.
We were the early crew.
The cool
'Cause
thing though,
our
the sun had just
yeah.
gone down. The sun
Mhm.
had gone down, so it was nice, and but because it's in this quiet neighborhood, you had this feel of like or residences around you in the quiet, and the Freedom Tower you could see off to one side, and yeah, it was very quiet and charming. It had this vibe of a place you could just go up there, Crystal, and talk,
Yeah, I was
just
gonna
sit
say
up there
talk
for
all night.
hours and talk. Yeah.
And then I can't wait for you to see. I'm gonna post a picture of this too. So Cheryl and Nick and I, we ordered Jello shots. We've never seen Jello shots like this before. So think of like your bougiest, like frou-fruest, whatever picture in your mind what a bougie like $1,000,000 Jello shot would look like. So it came on a gold tray and our 3 Jello shots were shaped like cubes, and they just looked they had beautiful colors, like, it did, they looked like not like marbles, but like some yeah, big square marbles because they were
Kind
the
of. That's a great
size
description because they really
yeah,
popped like a marble would.
right, yeah, they were
Yeah,
like
2 of them were a
iridescent,
deep blue, and the 3rd one, I think, was a nice marbly
like
brown.
browns, yeah, because I had the mine was the, espresso martini shot.
Mhm.
And I forgot what the other 2 were, but we just stared at them when they when because of course they drop them and run. They don't wait for the reaction. So that was the funniest thing I've ever seen in my life, those Jello shots.
It was it was so cool. Sadly, we obviously had the ride the next morning, so we weren't able to stay up there that long. We took some pictures, which we'll share at our clubhouse. By the way, it's
Definitely.
if you just put Stacking Adventures Clubhouse into Facebook, you can join us, and we have great chats about all kinds of travel stuff. Um,
Also, this also brings me to why did I have 3 plus drinks the night before the ride? I don't know. Don't do that. Do not do that.
that's what it's like when you're an honorary Saul
Oh,
Sea High.
yeah.
You have extra drinks the night before the ride. All right, coming up in the second half of today's show, we haven't even started the ride.
I know.
Yeah, so Crystal's going to take us to the ride, but first we have a couple sponsors who make sure we can keep on keeping on. We're going to hear from them and then the ride. And we're back. And by the way, you might be asking, so what about our venture? Where is Crystal? Well, as you might be able to hear from my microphone, I'm not in Mom's basement. So I don't have any of the stuff today with us. So you've got time, by the way, to write in. Crystal, how do people write in if they want to be the guest that wins the backpack?
Yes, you have to go to stackingadventures.com/my story and surprise, there's no writing. You can leave a recording of what you want to say. You can record up to 5 minutes and you give us two things. You ask a yes or no question, and then you bring it home and ask us, tell us where do you think I am. And last time we had a really, really, really close. You could totally guess it
If you're brand new
from
to the show, we'll leave you right where you are. And Crystal is in Japan. We know that,
somewhere in Japan.
but we have not had any clues about where in Japan. So feel free
Exactly.
to ask a question about different place in Japan. Are you in northern Japan, southern Japan? Are you in
Right,
whatever
yeah.
near the sea, whatever it might be? So uh
There you go.
stackingventures.com/my story. All right. Morning of the ride, Crystal. Tell us about your day.
Okay, so yeah, like I said, for that first morning, I really thought I was gonna just check out of the hotel and ride the ride and then drive back to DC. And I'm glad something told me just call the front desk and ask. And I'm telling you, I called the front desk. I'm like, "Hey, sorry for late notice. Like, I know late checkouts probably won't go this late, but how much for an extra night?" He said $115. And I was like, "Shut up." And he's like, "Yes, 115." So I was like, "Sold, booked." So that took maybe 5 minutes. And on my way down, he's like, "Just re-sign the form and we'll swipe your card again." And I was on my way to the bike ride. So our hotel was super close. I had to ride 1, 2, 3, 4 blocks. And the beauty of my 4-block ride, there were no cars. I don't know how they did this because the night before, like, we were lucky. We were trained everywhere. There's trains everywhere. So even to and from dinner, we took the train perfectly safe, perfectly fine. So, only 3 stops, and then Joe and Cheryl were at the coffee shop, so I actually sat with them at the coffee shop till it was our time for our wave to get in line, but there were already people, like, 33,000, not 100,000 people were signed up, so we got in line. We saw cool things while we were in line.
Well,
We
before we
couldn't
get to the
hear. Yeah.
line, can I say something about the coffee shop?
Oh, yeah.
The reason we were in the coffee shop and the thing
Ah,
that Crystal's going to tell you about in a second, it was cold as name a
yeah,
word. It was
yeah.
it was it was windy, it was cold. I only brought short sleeves, which I was happy for later because once I got all heated up, it was fine. But I only had a short sleeve shirt on and shorts, and it was they said it felt like it was like 37 degrees and it was freezing out. So we ducked into this coffee shop and called you, and
Mhm.
we all sat, and Cheryl had a hot chocolate and I had a coffee while we got warm before we braved out there. Had we not done that, we would have been even closer to the front, but we were still
But
fairly close to the front. There were a
oh,
lot more
yeah.
people behind us than there were in front of us.
Yeah, because we were in wave 2. I don't know how, well, I heard that they were putting individual riders in wave 2, but I don't know how true this is or not. But that was one thing that I had heard, but it was, I don't know. So it wasn't that congested like I thought it would be, but I mean, but New York is huge, so I guess
Sure.
it didn't really make that big of a difference. But yeah, because I had already whizzed by you guys at the coffee shop too. So I turned back around. And of course, there were other bikes. That was another cool thing about the bike ride. I was driving from DC to New York with my bike on the back of the car. And every time I passed someone else in their car with bikes on the back, I gave them a honk because it was like, I know where you're going. So that was, and driving back to DC, every time I passed another car with a bike on, it was like, it was a cool, we're in a club now, I feel like.
Cyclists definitely own the city. At our hotel, all of a
Yeah,
sudden there's just bikes clogging up every spot and clogging up the elevator. And
elevators.
yeah, it was frustrating and fun all at the same time.
But I think everybody was here for the same reason. So everybody was so nice about it. Like nobody was mad because one of the times I was getting on and someone had their luggage, they're like, "Come on, you can squeeze." Because he's like, "We have to come back down and do the same thing." So I got to squeeze onto the elevator with people that had luggage too. So we're at the start, and then before we even start, again, it's so windy. The wind made it worse because it was too windy. It was like pushing us back as we were trying to move forward. But we saw a lot of cool things while we were in line. We saw a kid on a well, not a kid. He's probably in his 20s. He had a skateboard, so he was gonna do the whole race on a skateboard. What
We
else?
actually passed people on the ride who were
Mhm.
rollerblading it.
Yep,
A man and a
rollerblades.
woman rollerblading it.
We saw a guy with a drone up in the air. I have a picture of him landing it back on his hand. I'll post a picture of that guy too. What else did we saw a lot of cool stuff on the way. We saw well, okay, so the race starts. They did a good job. Like we started pretty our wave time was 8:30. I think by 8:38 I was almost at, at speed. Like it was
About
it
there,
was
yeah.
pretty.
And they
Yeah.
also it was a wide street that we started on, but they narrowed the street at the beginning, which was great because once you got through the kind of narrow opening of the starting line, then that meant you had a little bit more room to ride from the beginning. Because I've heard from people in past years, Crystal, that there were times when you were just completely stopped, not because
Mm.
of traffic, because we did have a couple times when there'd be pedestrians trying to cross the street, so people would
Oh,
stop all the bicycles, for but
the
not for that.
marshals. Yeah, the marshals. Yeah.
Yeah, this was not for that. People in past years have had to stop just because there's so many damn cyclists, and
The
something had
bottleneck.
happened. Yeah, and there was a bottleneck. I don't think we ever had a
Nope.
bottleneck
0.
in all 40 miles, which was great. I thought it was well organized. Like
Me too.
for that many people, it was super well organized. But we started making our way through Manhattan up towards Central Park, and I got to tell you, that was fun.
Yeah, that was my first time. So I've been to New York. This was probably my 5th or 6th time, and this was my first time in Central Park, and
I
it
was
was
so
beautiful.
surprised you've been there that many times and never done Central
You
Park.
know? I mean, it's
Somebody
way
especially
up
that likes
there.
like walking and hiking and exercise like you do, not doing Central Park really surprised me.
Well, not back then, apparently, but now, yeah, I loved it. And it was we a funny thing that we saw also in Central Park, there was a guy biking with an entire DJ set. He had the world's biggest, like,
I
how
couldn't believe it.
tall was this box? It was like it was everything, and it was loud. So I have a video of that I'll post too. I was like and Joe used to be a DJ. I was like, "How heavy do you think that is?"
It was
It was
so
super
heavy. It had to be heavy.
and then on the way, there were bands, there was a guitarist, there was a church choir because it was Sunday morning. There was a church choir praying for us and singing for us as we went by. I have a video of those people too. Who else? There was one bar, the guy was trying to wave me in. At this point, Cheryl and Joe were way ahead of me. And he was like, "Hey, it's free beer today. Come on in. Turn to the left, turn to the left." And I was like, "Okay, if I don't see them stop, I'm not gonna stop." Oh, you're frozen now. Ah, we lost Joe. If there's anyone in the chat that's joining live, give us a holler. Holler, holler, holler. All right. Oh, yeah. All right, we're gonna wait for Joe to come back. As you see, Joe is not at home, so we don't we're not gonna see him. Well, it's not the same. Uh, yeah, I don't see anyone in the chat either because I would say drop your questions. We have one studio. Nope, nothing. Say hi. Also, if you've done this ride, please, we would love to hear from you. Stackingadventures.com/my story or any bike ride. All right, I'm pretty sure Joe is reconnecting. We're waiting for the reboot. The Magic reboot. All right. Oh, I don't have any water. Yes, I do. My water is all the way over there. Pause. I'm gonna go get my water. Of course, it's out of arm's reach. Oh, there we go.
I, uh, apparently, I'm staying at a hotel right now, and apparently they reset the router because it went right back to the World of Hyatt screen here in Charlotte.
Oh, that's funny. So did we leave off on the choir? Did you hear me talk about the choir? Central Park, the choir, DJ.
I thought that was a little bit north of the. Oh, there was one in the park too. Yeah, there was one in the park and one north of the park in Harlem. Required.
Oh, that was Harlem where the choir was. Yeah, I didn't remember. It all was a blur, especially
It
after the
it
first hill.
it definitely was. There was a huge downhill coming out of the end of Central Park, a really
Mhm.
big downhill that we went down. That was really fun. Central Park was also the only place, except one time, where I really felt like I might get in an accident because the road got smaller and there were some kids on small bikes who were kind of
Wow.
wobbling around a little bit, and I thought we might hit one of those kids or they might hit us. But besides that, Crystal, the Central Park was just beautiful.
It was. It was refreshing too. It was yeah, because there was only one time this guy got in front of me and he was trying to tell me to stop, but I was like, "What?" And he's like, "Oh, no, 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 go." And I was like, "Dude, you'll see that too in the video of the DJ because I was taking a video of the DJ guy
At
because
the
I wore
time.
my little mini camera. Oh, and speaking
Yeah,
of gear, or we can talk about gear at the end of the ride because I was glad we got the paste. What was it called?
the
From our
sticky
guest.
britches
The
from Tom
sticky
Schwab.
yes, Tom, I cannot thank you enough, and I had to remember to take it with me into the porta potty so that I can reapply. 'Cause definitely needed it, but my seat that's the one thing that didn't hurt was my butt, though, because my seat was comfy, like, my
You
legs, but not
you
my butt.
you had such a more comfortable seat than Cheryl and I had. But using a rental bike, we did not have comfortable seats. But oh my goodness, the seat on your bike looked so comfortable. Crystal reminded me of a friend that we run with named Melinda. Melinda was always like I run for comfort, not speed, and I think that's
Yeah.
also Crystal's bicycling.
Biking, yes.
I ride for comfort, and you definitely look comfortable on your bike.
Yeah, I did not try to keep up with Joe and Cheryl because at the so they had, what was it, 9 miles, they had a pit stop where bathrooms, water,
It was a big
bananas,
party.
snacks right. Well, at the halfway point, there was a really big party, and
Mhm.
that's where Joe was like, "We're gonna just push through." Or no, we had one more pit stop after that, and
We were
then
like mile
we're gonna
27 when we
yeah,
decided we'd just push through and see
push
if we could get
through.
it done with. But you know what's funny is that for people that don't think they can do this, I think most of our stackers, not everyone, but
Yeah,
most of our stackers could probably do this because you can take as much time as you want.
true.
You can walk your bike up the hills, which the only hills were the bridges, and there were a couple of tough bridges.
Listen, those bridges, I think what made it worse was the wind, like I said, was pushing you back because that last Verrazano bridge, every time I would see someone after the ride, like in the elevator, we were like, "Oh, did you do the ride? You did the ride too?" And then in unison we would say, "The Verrazano bridge." That one almost broke me. I was going 3 miles per hour on that bridge. I was in the lowest gear possible and but the view was spectacular, but a lot of people walked their bikes, and around mile 30 is when I started cramping, so I had to get off my bike a couple times and do a couple stretches, drink some more water, and then I was back on again.
Yeah, at about mile 30, we hit a highway, maybe 32, 33. We hit a highway, and the road and it got really boring. we just went through the one boring part of this was near the end before you got to this main big bridge, the Verrazano
That
Bridge.
bridge. Yeah.
So before you got there, well, it would have been, yeah, about 32 or 33 to mile 36, because 36 was the quote finish
Yeah.
line party. And what they don't tell you is there's 4 miles after the finish line party. But the big point is, though, there was a party like every 9 miles. And
Yep.
so if you can just, all you got to think about is making it the next 9 miles. And then, oh my goodness, all the food, there was so
Yeah.
much food. There was great, as you talked about before, great bands, great DJs, the choirs, just all kinds of fun stuff. But these huge parties, lots of bathrooms,
Yeah. Yeah.
tons of
Clean.
bathrooms,
Yeah.
very clean.
Way so many, and they had not just water, smart water was everywhere. They had the pickle juice, which I took a couple extra. I
Yeah.
think the reason that they don't let you have bags is so you don't really hoard all of the snacks. Because I had snacks coming out of every pocket and bananas in every pocket. I think, and then I was like, "Oh no, my bike is heavier."
Crystals, I like the free stuff. Came back to bite her.
Oh, yes, it
Yeah.
did.
But Oreo
Yeah.
cookies, I love Oreo cookies. And every
Yeah.
stop, I got 2 packages of each. And by a package, each package had 2 Oreo
2
cookies in it. So
Oreos.
I would
Yeah,
have 4 Oreo cookies at each one of these stops. But it was great.
it was
I did
a
not
lot
go
of
through that much water, actually. I didn't even
me
finish my
neither.
main water bottle.
I
And I
did.
think it was mostly because it was cold. I probably should have drank more, but I did not.
I don't think
Um,
we were sweating as much. I did not have a chance to sweat, I feel like, because it was so windy, like,
it was
it
so
instantly
windy.
evaporated. Cliff Bars, they had Cliff Bars that I'd never tried before. They had
Yeah.
Cliff Bars, Cliff Bites, Coca-Cola was there, not sure, but
I
hey,
didn't see the Coca-Cola, but I did see
there's an
the,
end.
yogurt,
Oh, right,
um,
Chobani's.
Chobani yogurt in a bottle. I had a couple of
Uh,
those. That was good.
I had a lot.
But you get to the end in this finish line party, you actually stopped and got a massage.
Yes, they had chair massages. I actually laid on one was a chair and the other was the full bench, and, it luckily, when I got there, there was no line, like, there was only 2 of us in line and 2 getting massages, but then when we looked behind us, the line was crazy long, so that helped out, but then again, I had the massage, but then had to bike 4 more miles to get to the fun, but this was also another really cool part of the ride because you take the ferry at the end of your ride. So I loved the ferry. We have a water taxi here in Old Town Alexandria, and I always buy the pass. Well, this is my second year buying the unlimited rides pass, so I catch the water taxi all the time. But it was cool seeing the Statue of Liberty. I mean, the windows were cloudy. You had to stand in front with a whole bunch of other people that were standing in front. But the Statue of Liberty was one of the top coolest things I saw while on that ferry.
I thought it was just neat that you got a ferry ride at the end. I just thought that was a
Yeah.
great finish to the ride. And the cool thing for you and for Cheryl and I was that our hotel room was right down there by the
Mhm.
spot. Cheryl and I actually went to a food truck right at the Battery Park, and
Yep.
she got like a Middle Eastern, Mediterranean sandwich thing, almost like a euro, but it was almost in a funnel.
Uh-huh.
And I got a Nathan's hot dog, and
Ah.
Cheryl was still waiting for hers to come out
Oh,
when I think I inhaled that hot dog in 3 bites. I was so hungry. Speaking of hungry, afterwards, after we returned the bikes and we uh,
w
did some stuff. You had some time back at the hotel.
yeah.
We went, met up with our kids, and we sat and watched the Detroit Pistons win at a sports bar up by Rockefeller Center.
But
We,
before
we
we finish too,
oh
like, you had to but you still had to return your bikes too, so that's another note that if you're gonna do this trip, make sure if you wanna rent a bike, you rent it ASAP because you used a
yes,
different company.
yeah, rent it as soon as you possibly can. And they had a spot right at the finish line. You saw they had bike rental
Yeah.
return, like they're affiliated. So I could have gotten rid of my bike right at the finish line, and they would have taken it the rest of the way. It would have been perfect. But for me, we had to take a subway ride with our bike. They actually told you online, please don't do that. And there are luckily a lot of people with bikes on the subway. I actually said to Cheryl, you were in on this conversation, Crystal. I was like,
Mhm.
I think we should ride our bikes back there. And she's like, I'm done. No, we're not doing it. Forget it. Like, whatever. I was like, one more time. No, done. So she wasn't up for another almost 7 mile bike ride back up to Central Park where we got our bikes.
Ouch. And then for me, mine was easy 'cause I used Google Maps to show me how to get back to my hotel because it was a different route coming back, and there was act because the Staten Island ferry stopped, but it was cool because there is a actual bike path from the Staten Island ferry stop that goes, like, right around the city, and so I actually followed a group of other bikers to that way because I was like, "I don't know which way to go," and I was like, "Duh, follow the rest of the bikers, I bet they're going to the bike path too." So from there, I just followed, and it was only a 6-minute ride back for me. But I don't see how you guys kept going. I went to my room, and I feel like I didn't have any time before it was time to go meet for dinner. But you guys did something totally different.
Well, but still, when we got up to Central Park to meet with them and Rockefeller Center, we were so tired. And luckily, the Pistons were coming on. So we found an
Yeah,
Irish sports bar and we sat down and we just watched the game. And by the way, that might have been the best beer I've ever had was the beer
of
after
course.
the 40-mile bike ride. Yeah, it was super. But so then we went to this restaurant where we met you at. This was a place that I found online. And by the way, I had found another place where Crystal and my mutual friend Paula Pant had taken me when I had been in New York previously called Peasant. And Peasant is listed in a lot of guides. It's a really good restaurant. I highly recommend it. I was super excited. I made a reservation for 7 of us to go to Peasant. And then I got online to see what time they open because we were so hungry, Chris, as Crystal
Oh,
knows.
yeah.
Our original reservation was for 7 o'clock. So we were sure that we wanted to eat way before 7 o'clock because we were hungry and
Yes.
tired. And so I went to move it to 5:30 and it said the restaurant's closed. And then it said the restaurant's
What?
closed on Sunday. And I'm like, wait, but I made a reservation
Wow.
on their website. And by the way, Peasant, I'm talking to you. This
Yeah,
is this
wet.
is horrible.
Leaving his finger.
I could have made reservations on the website for the same day, even though the restaurant was closed and there was nothing that told you
Right.
that there. So I had a reservation for a restaurant that wasn't even open. No notification,
Boo.
no nothing. Let me do it.
0 stars, 0
Yeah, but
stars.
luckily, we did some homework and we found out if we got in early, which we were excited to do, we could avoid a place that always had a line called Emilio's Bellotto. Now, here's the deal about Emilio's. Emilio's is a Michelin restaurant. It doesn't have a Michelin star, but the Michelin inspectors in their guide, they call it an inspector favorite, and it's known as an iconic red sauce spot in New York City. Crystal, you got there early and there was a line.
Yeah, and it's interesting because I guess a lot of people did the same thing. Because there was a guy standing outside, but he was looking on his phone. So, I go in and then we like 3 people, there's 3 of us that walked up at the same time. We go in, but then we get shooed back out, and so we get in line and they're like, "Yeah, you just wait in line, and when there's a table, we'll come out and, talk to you." And so he came out because the other 2 people were there first, and so he's like, "How many?" And they were like, "2." He's like, "Alright, come in." He's like, "You wait." And so the guy that was standing there, I was like, "Oh," so I started asking him questions because he was supposed to be the line person to tell people, "Hey, you have to wait in
He just
line."
wasn't paying any attention.
Right, he wasn't. So, but he was helpful though, because I was like, "Well, what kind of place is it? Do you think we can, get 7 in here without, reservation or anything?" He's like, "You're gonna love it," and everything. So the guy comes out and he's
They
like,
don't
"You,
even
how
take
many?"
they don't even
No,
take reservations, by the way. You
they
you
don't.
can't get a reservation, I found out.
Yeah, so he was like, "You, how many do you have?" And I'm like, "7." And he's like, "Are you all here?" And I'm like, "No." So he's like, "Okay." He's like, "We have 1 table left, big enough for all of you." So they if they hopefully they get here before someone else gets here. So 2s kept coming up and I was like, "Joe, how close? How close? How close?" So that was like I was super nervous, and then finally he's like, "All right, if someone else walks up, we gotta give away your table." And then I was like, "They're off the train, they're here." He's like, "Okay, we'll sit you." And so then they took me in to be seated. And so as I'm walking in, it looks like a mom and pop, like your favorite relatives, where everybody in family goes to eat. They sat us at the table. The picture of the Obamas was right above. They've been there. Who else did we see? David Bowie. Like there was so many
Beckham,
people. Yeah. Oh, yes. The Beckham.
David Beckham.
The
Yeah.
Yes, he was there. So it was really cool just seeing all the pictures of the celebrities on the walls and the artwork. Like it was a really, really and they treated us like family too. Like they were so nice, so warm, so welcoming. It was like a little cozy little place, but it was good. The mushrooms, that was my favorite. The bread, obviously, and the
Yes.
mushrooms. Those are my top 2
Mushrooms,
favorite.
the
Mm.
bread, my goodness, my pasta. I had a great pasta there. I had linguine and white clam sauce that was so good. Autumn and Cheryl both got the bolognese, which they loved. You and
Yeah,
Todd
I
got the pork
tasted it.
chock,
The
but I
pork
think you
chop
guys were a
was
little
big.
less. Yeah.
It was good. It was big, but yeah, it was good. It was good. But that I did have some of Cheryl's bolognese. That was really, really good.
I get the thing about that restaurant, because I do want to be clear with people. We were looking for this because Cheryl and I, we like having a family retreat once a year because our kids are all over one's in Boston,
Mhm.
one's in Detroit. We're in Texas. So once a year, we like getting everybody together. And at the end, we want to have a nice celebration. This is a phenomenal restaurant for a
Yep.
celebration, which is code for it ain't cheap. It was, it was,
Yes,
it was not cheap, but it was worth it. I mean,
it was.
we had the best time. We had so many laughs. Our waiter was phenomenal.
He was
Um,
hilarious too. Yes.
just great.
He had
My
personality, because that's what you hate. You're gonna come there and spend all this money, and they don't have any personality. Like, they had really great personality there. That's what I appreciated.
here's how funny he was. My brother-in-law has a great sense of humor, but he doesn't drink. And the waiter caught on to that he'd be fun to toy with. And so he had Todd, my brother-in-law, who does not drink, opening our wine bottle.
Yep.
He was
And he gave him extra cans of Coke. He kept sliding them in his bag that he had on the back of his chair. That was
it was
funny.
it was
So,
it
yeah,
was so good.
that's a good place. And I think even the experience of standing outside in line waiting to get in, like, this just adds to the exclusivity of the place and, like, the cool mysteriousness. Like,
Yeah, I
it
can
was
see
nice
why
waiting.
Michelin likes it so much. I can see why people like it so
Mhm.
much. It was a really great way. It was a really great way to end the weekend, Crystal.
I agree. Listen, and that's what we were saying. We saw more of New York City in one day on that 40-mile bike ride that most people see in their lifetimes. And like I said, I've been there 5, 6 times, and I will never forget every turn, every corner, every hill, every blow of the wind. Ouch, the wind.
The
I kept
wind
saying, "Mother Nature, turn off the fan."
going up that damn bridge. Oh, that wasn't
Ah,
the end. My
no.
son really wanted to
Oh,
go to this ice cream place called Serendipity, which we did not need. Oh my God, we did not need it.
we did need it because it was fun. First of all, so Joe's telling us we were gonna go the wrong way. Well, I wanted to get us on the train. We would have gotten there faster.
Whatever.
And Cheryl knew it too. Cheryl was like, "Well, she really Krista wants to get on this train."
This
He's
is
like, "Wait a
revisionist
minute.
history.
Wait a minute." And I was like, "See?
Revisionist history.
I was right." So we're walking through Times Square, and I was like, "This place is both a zoo and a circus rolled up in one." And this was on Sunday night. I felt
It
like it
was
was a little
packed.
more calm on Saturday.
Times Square was packed.
Sunday, and we saw Elmo, we saw Darth Vader, we saw, what's the, Ewok? Not the Ewok. What is it? Yoda. We saw
You saw
Yoda.
Yoda.
We saw these, the little the carriage, not the carriage, the guy sitting and you get to sit in the back,
Yeah.
rickshaw
Yeah, the
kinda
little
thing,
rickshaw.
except these had, like, super loud music. I'm surprised that people weren't deaf or exiting, and then they had these neon lights, like, they had a sign, like, "I love love," or, like, they had all these different phrases on them, and I was like, "This is
So cheesy.
it's a cross between a zoo and a circus.
It
This
was
is
so.
circus."
And by the way, Elmo, Elmo needed to wash his fur.
Yeah,
Elmo's fur hadn't been washed in a long time. Uh,
but
this was like a
forever.
6 pack of Marlboros, Elmo.
Yeah. Six six pack have it a day.
But the place,
Elmo.
Serendipity, was
Yeah.
fun. We had too much ice cream. You did not have ice cream. You had a cool looking
Yes, I
drink.
had a drink. It was a coconut something with icing. I
Yeah.
I will start dipping my cups in icing and sprinkles,
The
and
cool
then you pour the
sprinkles like
drink in.
funfetti around
Oh,
the outside.
that was amazing. Like,
It
so
was
my
so
drink was
fun.
very good. Something they had on the menu that we didn't order. They had what, $1,000, what was it?
Yeah, Nick had told us this ahead of time. They had $1,000 ice cream creation that has gold leaf. They put actual gold as a garnish on it
You can
for
poop gold.
$1,000.
Yeah, you too can poop gold for
Yes.
$1,000.
So we asked about getting it. Nick actually asked about getting it, and it turns out you have to call like a month ahead of time.
And pay. I bet you have to pay. She didn't say that, but she's like, "Yeah, you gotta call," because she's like, "It's not like we have this stuff just sitting around the back. Like,
Yeah.
it's
So
an
why is it on the menu?
experience."
Why is it on the menu? If not. All
It's for
right.
the in-the-knows.
Coming up, we got some really fun discussions. Jen Ruiz has traveled the world. She is going to tell her story of traveling all around the world. And our friend Karen Cordaway, and you've heard her bucket list
Yeah.
podcast here over the holidays every year. We swap with Karen. Karen and her husband Rich, who you've heard on their show, they actually just got back from Amsterdam. So we're going to hear from them.
Yay. And also, like, I wanted to shout out the Too Good To Go app. There was one restaurant, I didn't get something from there, but they had like a $5 sushi dinner. But I was like, I'm not in the mood for sushi. I was in the mood for something sweet, which we didn't even talk about the desserts at the different places. Like, the desserts were good too. That'll be for another show.
I think it's about time to go, though.
It is. Oh gosh. See, now I didn't notice we've been talking for this long.
So, but because Crystal just keeps going and going, she won't
I
stop.
know, I will. Well, I like how so one of the things I do like is like you don't have to have a perfect plan for the trip to go, like to be like really, really awesome. Cause that was an awesome trip, even though I waited till the week before to
But
plan
I
it.
do think that if you can get your hotel room early, do it. If you get your
Yeah.
bike early, do it. It is definitely worth the bike ride is worth it. I thought, by the way, we didn't talk about this. The communication ahead of time was horrible
Yeah. Oh,
from the bike tour. The communication was rotten. But once you got there, it was so well set up and well done. And the volunteers, if you're a volunteer for the event, you
yes.
kicked
Thank you.
ass. You were
Hmm.
phenomenal. So
It,
it was just great. All the police officers, all the city
oh,
people, the sanitation people, just
yep.
it took a village, as they say, Crystal, because they made it all work. So
You're right. And they made it look so seamless. Like, how did you stop the whole city for us? For us crazy people that wanted to bike 40 miles.
if you know somebody who cycles, pass this on to them, and maybe they can get signed up early for next year.
Yeah.
But until next time, she's Crystal.
And I'm Joe. He's Joe.
Keep on adventuring.